Megatron is on ice last we saw him. The dude had both of his eyes plucked out and he was so tired after fighting Cobra soldiers that he had to take a little stasis nap. But today's sponsor, Mantasleep, would help him settle in for the long cold nights in the Arctic. Their masks offer a wonderfully comfortable experience while winding down for bed with their adjustable straps and zero pressure, breathable material. These masks are extremely comfortable, so even people who sleep on their sides or toss and turn can rest easily knowing that the masks aren't going anywhere. There's a few different models to choose from, but Mantasleep sent me their Sleep Mask Pro. I received my package in the mail right before I got sick actually, and they really did help me recover pretty quickly. Mantasleep makes the best sleep masks in the world, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be sponsored by them. Check out Mantasleep via the link in my description, and make sure to use my code DELTA10 for 10% off your order. In a previous video, I spoke on how I try my hardest to not theory craft in my videos. I do enjoy watching content that goes into theories and what could have beens, but it's not where I find my skills are best used on this platform. That being said, in this video, I'm going to be breaking my rule and going into full theory mode, so hopefully this all works out. But before we make some educated guesses on what could be, let's cover what we already know. Throughout the Skybound Transformers comic run, Megatron has been somewhat absent. Yet the aftermath of his tyrannical reign chokes the life out of those he has faced in battle. Often clouded in darkness via the memories of those alive, Megatron is portrayed as an impossible force that barely few escape. Writer and artist Daniel Warren Johnson is no stranger to drawing carnage and sheer violence on the page, but he makes sure that when Megatron does show up, it's a big moment. Artist Ryan Ottley brings his own unique style to this world as well, and does Megatron justice in the Energon Universe special from 2024. In this one-shot, we get to see Megatron battle Optimus right before the Ark crash lands on Earth, and this is where things get very interesting. Megatron has been portrayed in many different ways throughout the franchise's history, but from what we can gather from his few appearances here, he has a somewhat noble aspect written towards his character. He pities the Autobots for their futile efforts, saying that they fight with honor and passion, but that still their cause is not just. This startled me at first, to hear Megatron say these things, but this idea is further when Megatron blames Optimus for the downfall of Cybertron. This is not a new aspect to the franchise, but I can't help but feel the full weight of blame being placed on Optimus here, something we also see from Alita later on in the series. Megatron is of course betrayed by Starscream in this battle, as he always is, but it's in the aftermath that shows us more of this honorable monster. In escaping the Cobra secret lab, Megatron is once again shown to have some sort of semblance of a conscience when dealing with his enemies. Megatron allows the Cobra scientist to live, showing us that he is a bot of his word. What he says will come to pass. It's not until later that Megatron is called a beast by Globulus, is that how you say his name? Globulus? That he chuckles to himself and says, "So be it." I can't help but feel that Megatron does not see himself as a beast, but in this moment, having been called one by this guy, he decides to become one in order to satisfy the needs of his enemies. If he is to be called a monster, then a monster is what they shall receive. Once again, Megatron is a bot of his word. Moving a little more into the theorizing side of this video, we also see Megatron's response to being claimed as property. "I belong to no one," he screams, perhaps hinting at a past life of being a slave to someone, or most likely a system. This then leads us to the most intriguing section in my opinion. Now blind from losing his remaining eye, Megatron is consumed with rage, a sort of righteous rage. As he is overwhelmed by Cobra soldiers, he says, "I am the leader of the Decepticons, the leader of the true way, the only way." This, to me, is the biggest piece of evidence to point us towards a different take on Megatron. Have we had self-righteous Megatrons in the past? Sure, of course. But this take on him seems so fascinating as he truly believes that he is the righteous savior of Cybertron. He is the leader of the one and the only way. Rather than simply being a gladiator or a brute that wants to topple an unjust society, Megatron is almost a religious figure, with followers who have been radicalized by his words and by his actions. Nowhere is this clearer than with Genvo. In issues 13 and 14 of Transformers, we get a peek into the backstory of Starscream, where we see the earlier days of Cybertron pre-Civil War. Genvo, Starscream's buddy, mentions his leader, someone who is unlike anyone he's ever met, hinting towards Megatron's pull on the public. We haven't gotten a full explanation into the Cybertronian government just yet, the social system or anything else, and so I can't make any surefire statements, but if I had to guess, I would put my money on the standard idea that Cybertron has an unbalanced caste system, and that Megatron is working to topple that. After Genvo's death, Megatron takes full advantage of the naive and hurting Starscream in order to bring a new soldier into his fold. He promises Starscream vengeance for his friend and his clan, a place in the new Decepticon order. In issue 14, we see that Megatron has more than just the power of radicalization on his side, but also some sort of mind control. This is something I touched on in my Starscream video, but I'm not fully sure if this is mind control or more of a, power over others in general. Starscream tries to fight back against Megatron's orders when wielding him, but to no avail. Also, yet again, we see more of Megatron's thought process towards the war, when he offers a few stray Autobots the chance to live and become a part of the Decepticon family. And honestly, I believe him. He is a bot of his word. He commands Starscream to execute the Autobot prisoners and says no apology should be made for what must be done. Together we will bring Cybertron back to its rightful and glorious place among the stars, he says. The threat of Megatron looms great over all the conflicts and storylines taking place in the Energon universe. Daniel Warren Johnson's run on the Skybound comic will end with issue number 24. There's no word yet on who will take the reins after him, but I highly doubt Hasbro or Image Comics would allow this franchise to end when Daniel Warren Johnson leaves. That being said, Daniel Warren Johnson has stated many times that his goal with the comics is to stick with Generation 1 ideas and storylines. And so, it feels all but inevitable that Megatron will be the big bad for Optimus to face off against in issue number 24. Shockwave was our Act 1 villain, and now we need a new big bad for the Autobots to face off against. Starscream has been the main focus as of late, and we're already getting some Decepticon combiner battles coming up with Bruticus and Devastator, but I really feel like in the midst of all this Decepticon infighting, Megatron will show up to level the playing field, to bring his children back under his wing and set them back on the true path. To do this, he will need to take care of Starscream, and remember, he is a bot of his word. Hey everybody. Again, a bit of a different video. We're doing some theory crafting. I ran a poll as to whether you guys wanted to hear about Skybound, Megatron, or another D16 video. There's some more aspects to that character I still want to talk about, but a lot of people said, hey, there's not much to talk about when it comes to Megatron because we haven't seen much of him, and I do actually agree on that. Again, I don't normally make theory videos kind of guessing what's going to happen or what I think is happening beyond what's on the page. I don't really think my skills are best used in that area, but Megatron has been such an intriguing character to catch glimpses of here and there that I just couldn't help but write some ideas down in my script editor and say, hey, maybe this is the Megatron that we're seeing. I talk about Decepticon culture in general in my Soundwave video from a few months back, and I go into a little bit of Thundercracker's, background and him talking about, hey, this is our way, this is the Decepticon way to challenge your leader and take over the rightful place as the Decepticon leader when time comes. We see Soundwave do that to Starscream. And so there's obviously a culture to the Decepticon society and to their brotherhood and their clan. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see more of that. I think we're going to see that more through Thundercracker as we see him struggle with Soundwave's new leadership and the decisions he's making, as we've seen in issue number 15. There will be a Thundercracker video. I've been holding off because every time I'm about to write down a episode about Thundercracker, there's something new in the comics that just really intrigues me about his character. So I'm kind of waiting for his big moment, and then we'll be able to kind of go back and look at all of it. But Megatron is the focus of this video, and so I think that there's a lot that we can pull from what little we've seen of Megatron, and I think that we can kind of get this idea that he's not just some regular old big bad villain, you know, not just your not a very simple Megatron who just wants to kill the Autobots. There's something deeper going on here. There's something righteous about his quest to destroy the Autobots and to reclaim Cybertron. There's something, again, as I said, almost religious to it. And I'm really excited to see how that pans out. And so, until that happens, we probably won't see another Megatron video from me until we really kind of get the full realized idea from Daniel Warren Johnson as to what this Megatron is all about. So until then, I'll see you on the next one.